What is good, people? Lord Hades here with another video on a game that I haven't played in quite a while, and that is going to be Destiny 2. On January 31st, which was my birthday, they put up this thing on Destiny 2 social media, on Bungie social media, called the Destiny 2 Development Roadmap. And basically what this tells me is we are playing a beta for a game that already had a 3-year beta. Anyway, I'm going to read off some of the points. I'll leave the image on the screen at the beginning, and then I'm just going to run gameplay. After that, for the most part, the one that just deployed, 1.1.2, about masterworks. Added masterworks for armor, which presumably means you can now apply a random perk to your armor, which is interesting, being that Destiny 2 had a lot less armor perks than Destiny 1. There were no unique perks for any events or anything like that. Raid armor didn't have unique perks. Iron Banner armor didn't have unique perks. Trials armor didn't even have unique perks. So now you can assign a random one, which are presumably going to be rather lackluster perks, just like the masterworks for the weapons. Additionally, getting masterworks for the stuff that you want is annoying as fuck, because the only way to do it is to dismantle weapons, or now presumably armor, that is already a masterwork, which is like a small chance to get, just as any random drop. And then you get a couple pieces. You need 10 to put one on something you want. So basically you have to farm for a long time to get masterworks to break them down, which is irritating and artificially extends the playtime of the game by forcing you to repeat the same boring fucking content over and over again so that you can get shit that's relevant. Anyway, that's the armor masterworks. Raid reward improvements. So I don't know what this entails. Hopefully that means the raid rewards will have some perks that are beneficial. I know initially the raid sword was really good because it basically had infinite ammo, as the R2 counted for like multiple hits and gave you ammo back. So if you managed it properly and just killed yellow every once in a while to grab heavy, you would pretty much never run out. They nerfed that so that you can only get ammo back while using the R1 swing, which basically makes the sword significantly less good. All the other weapons had really broken sounding perks and just underperformed, such as the pulse rifle. Hopefully they are made effective again. Hopefully the sword comes back to its effectiveness. It stared back, and hopefully they make the other weapons not fucking useless, because why would you want to play the raid for bad weapons and armor that don't have any perks? Like, what is the point unless you want to experience it? But these raids are really lackluster compared to the ones in the first game anyway. Move on to the next thing on the list. Prometheus lens buff. Good fucking god. This is going to send me into another tangent, but that's just fine. So the Prometheus lens was a curious item introduced in Destiny 2. A lot of changes to Destiny 2's Crucible from Destiny 1. We're like trying to bring it back towards the Halo style of 4v4 competitive gameplay. They balanced weapons a little more, I would say, so that pretty much assault rifles, scouts, and cannons were all effective. But then they introduced this thing, which, upon its release, being that it was sold by Xur, one of his exotics, turned the Crucible into a shitty Call of Duty game, because the time to kill on this thing and skill it took to kill with it were so low that you were just exploding left and right, and the only way to even compete in the Crucible during the time of its release was to actually use it. I found that using my Tome Patrol scout rifle, which is kind of the thing that I preferred in this game when I played it, I was able to trade with it every time. Trade with it only. I could never actually win the gunfight because the residual damage from the burn would always kill me. Then they nerfed it pretty hard, being that new Bungie does not know how to balance a game. Presumably they nerfed it too hard to the point of uselessness, where it wouldn't even work in PvE as an effective weapon. I just hope they don't overdo it when they bring it back, because then the Crucible will once again become oversaturated with this. Honestly, I think there should just be a ban list of weapons for the Crucible. Maybe you just don't allow exotics or something, and then you fix that problem right there. But, you know, I'm not developing this game, so we don't get to do that. Next, Flashpoint milestone. Fix. Presumably there was some glitch where you weren't getting your rewards or not able to complete the things on the list for this milestone. What? How is this a AAA fucking game with glitches like this? Like, your weekly rewards don't work? Cool, not much more to say. Lost and found notifications. So that I'll actually have to look into. Well, I'm ranting because I have no idea what that is, but we'll keep going. Exotics and heroic strikes, you should have been able to get these from the get-go. There should have always been a chance, just like in Destiny 1. There should be some kind of strike rewards, rather than just cashing in on fucking Vanguard tokens to go get the lackluster, like, 7 things that the fucking vendors are giving out at any given time, all of which are ugly as shit. All the good stuff is in the Eververse. Yeah. Next on the list, Mercury challenges on adventures. Could have sworn they already had this. Presumably there was something wrong with it, and we can assume that they're gonna try and fix whatever they fucking did. If anybody wants to let me know what that was in the comment section, please fucking do. Fix clan engrams from the Nightfall. So the last time I played this game, which was probably almost a month ago, if not longer, I do remember there was an issue with getting my fucking clan Nightfall engram. How the fuck did that issue persist for this long? That's insane. I don't even know what to say about that. Challenges in quick play. Okay, that's cool. Like, I mean, did they not work in quick play before? Should have. Dismantle timer for masterwork cores. Those things took fucking forever. So, yeah, it's nice to have it reduced. I wish Destiny would just have like a click, or even, I don't know why it has to be idiot-proof. Like, why do I have to hold a button for 20 minutes to be sure that I want to dismantle something? Like, don't spam buttons, and then you won't accidentally delete your shit. And then you won't have to make people who aren't stupid suffer by having their games made for your dumbass. A Cora waypoint fix. Presumably she had a broken waypoint, just like Zavala did for fucking forever at the beginning of that game. These people are so fucking incompetent. So, this game is devoid of content, and just, this is what they're doing to fix it right now. I'm not going to play the game in the state that it's in right now. So we're going to look into the further patches and see what is changing, what additional content might be coming. And let me just find out. What is Lost and Found? Destiny 2, Lost and Found. It's a pulse rifle? What? What did you say? Lost and Found notifications. Is it just the postmaster? Like, did they fix... I don't understand. Anyway. 1.1.3. Fucking... Nightfall scoring and high score tracking will be added. Something that was in Halo 3, a game that came out in 2007 on launch day, made by a studio you might have heard of called Bungie. I don't know why there's no Nightfall scoring or high scores tracking in the game already. I don't know why a game like Destiny that's all about replaying the same content wouldn't have leaderboards. The fuck, dude? Emblem Aura rework, so that's really cryptic. You're going to be doing something with your emblems and the little fucking things that happen when you spawn in. I don't care about that. I couldn't give a shit about emblems or auras. I want the game to play well and have interesting content. That's all. That's all I want. Fireteam members, the destination map. Now, I just gotta pause there for a second, because that fills me with such a rage that they thought it was okay in both Destiny 1 and 2 to ship a game without being able to see your fucking teammates on the map. The map was barely even functional in Destiny 1. It pretty much didn't help with anything. It was slightly better in Destiny 2, and there's things like fast traveling on it, but you couldn't see your fucking teammates on the map. So I remember playing Destiny 2, there would be instances when we were just exploring around and one guy would sparrow all the way to the other side of the map and nobody would fucking be able to find him, and we wouldn't be able to meet up because there's no fucking waypoints if you're in another area of the map and you couldn't see each other on the map. So you had to like call out the actual name of the destination and go and meet up somewhere on some ghetto ass shit in this futuristic ass game. It's fucking stupid. Like, every fucking shooter that's had a map since like 2005 has had your fucking teammates on it. Like, this is the laziest fucking game. Like, I tried to appreciate Destiny 2. There's just not much to appreciate. Anyway, continuing, they're also going to add PC public text chat. PC public text chat, I'm pretty sure is standard in every PC game that supports multiplayer. Every PC game. Why would you create a game and release it on PC and not have chat? Like, what the fuck, dude? I was playing fucking Star Wars Battlefront OG in like 2005, and that joint had that shit. Like, fucking games way before that had that shit. That's ridiculous. Next thing on the list is exotic repetition reduction, which would be fire, because I remember hunters just have this insane attraction to Lucky Pants, and you'll get like 17 million of those things. Warlocks, you'll get 1 million of that fucking first exotic helmet that you can pick up, just so on. Like, I try to get all the exotics, but first of all, when exotics first came out, they had that weird thing going on where it could only be one of any 6 until the timer on the engram went out and those 6 refreshed. Then they did away with that system, presumably. They at least took away the ability to look at the exotic engram and see what was going to be in it. But they might have just made it invisible. It might still be there's only 6 in there at any given time. That shit was stupid. It should be an equal chance for any exotic that you don't already have. Like, that's just a simple thing. Like, why would you make people needlessly grind to get the same exotic over and over and over? Just don't allow repeats until you have all of them. That's perfectly fine. Like, that's a system that would fix the issues easily. Like, I'm pretty sure this is just some number tweaking. Like, this is not difficult stuff. Presumably. Unless you're Bungie. Companion mod / shader interactions. Companion vendor viewing. What? Companion? Oh, the fucking, the phone app. So the phone app is getting the ability to change your mods and shaders, which apparently it doesn't have right now. Disgusting. And you can view the vendors, which I guess is cool, because that means, presumably, I'm gonna assume I can buy stuff on the Destiny app, like if Zer's here on a Friday and I'm not gonna have time to go see him, but the reality of the situation is we're probably gonna be able to check what he has and then have to log on to the game in order to actually access it. Just sadness, dude. Like, this level of incompetency is fucking ridiculous and depressing. And this is why I've gone back and just started playing old Halo games, because they don't make them like that anymore. The last thing in 1.1.3, and this is asterisk, Nightfall Strike unique rewards. So that's fire. That means every week, Nightfall Strike is going to have a unique, presumably weapon, an armor piece, or something that you can farm it for. Now, the issue I take with this is that Destiny 1, by the end of its lifespan, had unique loot for every strike in its regular version. At least a weapon or an armor piece, and in most of the strikes both. Destiny 2, the only way to get rewards at the beginning was to farm the tokens from the strikes and turn them in with no like strike-based loot of any kind. So no way to actually go for the thing you wanted. I actually kind of liked the skeleton key system at the end of Destiny 1. I'd be fine with something like that in Destiny 2, but it's not what we got. It'll be great to get unique rewards in the Nightfall strike, but all the strikes should have unique rewards and be accessible from the directory. Like, why in the name of fuck? In Destiny 1, we could access all the strikes from the directory, so that we could go and get the strike loot that we wanted. Destiny 2, the only way to access the strikes is by playing them in the story missions, which are the fucking strikes, and then the playlist. You can't actually pick which one you want to do. You can't go for any specific loot. Excuse me. It's just disgusting. Now, the asterisk means these features are stretch goals that have a chance to slip to a later release. So if they can't think up a unique reward for every strike that's going to be in their Nightfall rotation between 1.1.3 and 1.1.4, they might just not do it because they're incompetent. They're going to let you know that, yeah, you might get a reason to play our fucking weekly bullshit, but you might not. The next update wouldn't come for another month. So that is the end of the Strikes and Social 1.1.3 update. We're going to move to 1.1.4, and this is about the halfway point, just so y'all know. Weapon and ability sandbox changes. That's very cryptic. One can hope this means expansion to the skill trees. I don't understand why we had, like, diverging skill trees in Destiny 1 where you could mix and match options for to function just fine in Destiny 2. And create your own unique-ish setups. Of course, there were the best ones that were basically agreed upon by the end of the game, but you could use what you wanted. I was one of, like, 4 Voidwalkers who used the Lance Nova Bomb, and not having the option to do that in Destiny 2, because of the way I played Voidwalker, it kind of disappoints me. I don't want to have to be on top of the enemies to hit them with my super. That's not the idea. But they took that option away from me, and the only thing you can do in Destiny 2 is Devour, which is broken and good, but it gives no margin for, like, your own style of play, which was the most beautiful thing about the first game. Anyway, hopefully the skill trees get more dynamic, more like the first game, with more options, and hopefully we're not just limited to 2 paths on any given one. I want to be able to mix and match. I want more abilities. There's no reason that shouldn't exist in this game. The first one had a lot more abilities. I want them back. Okay. Alright, and then Heroic Strike modifiers will be arriving. Presumably that means it'll be like the end of Destiny 1. I actually don't care for this. I thought having Heroic Strike modifiers was inadvisable. If anything, there should be a separate Heroic Modified Strikes playlist, because some of the modifiers will make a week of Destiny between resets like not fun to play. Like when Exposure was on in Destiny 1, like we didn't really want to play the Heroic Strikes that week because having to just, you know, micromanage yourself on 0 health for most classes throughout most of the strike is not fun and not enjoyable. And especially if you're going to be playing it, you know, 100 times to get some fucking random rewards loot, you want it to be fun. Like, it should be enjoyable to do this. Anyway, if Heroic Strike modifiers are optional, that'll be fine. If it's going to be AIDS modifiers on everyone's strikes by default, it's not going to be fun. There will also be Iron Banner 6v6, presumably only a week starting on the 27th, but if it lasts the whole month, that'll be great. I actually do not think 4v4 multiplayer fits Destiny 2's very casual formula very well. They should just stop, diverge completely from trying to be competitive in any way, and go back to having Destiny as a casual game with the only competitive mode being Trials, if you really want to go for that. 6v6, I just feel like it works better for this game, and Although the maps might not support it, being that they were built presumably for 4v4, one can hope we also get some new ones on that side, though we can all assume that we won't for some time. Anyway, weekly Crucible playlist including Mayhem. That'll be nice. I do not like only having quick play and competitive playlists. That means that we'll have quick play, competitive, Iron Banner, and presumably Mayhem, which will rotate with other game types. I'd like to see Rift or some shit like that return. Really fun game modes from Destiny 1 that just aren't in Destiny 2. Rift, Salvage, etc. It would be great to see them in the weekly rotation. I would much rather play the Crucible if it had some variety. Right now I just play the unfortunate triple threat of Clash, Control, and Supremacy. The first two I'm fine with, but just the fact that if I want to play Destiny 2 not in elimination style, I have to sometimes play Supremacy, which I despise. It's just not a good formula for retaining your player base. So, weekly Crucible plays, Crucible ammo and gun gameplay tuning. I'm not really sure what this will entail, because Destiny 2 has pretty much eliminated the special weapon thing entirely. You just carry two primary weapons and a heavy, basically. Maybe they'll make it so it's not just the energy weapon meta in some way. Maybe they'll try to reduce the amount of ammo for your energy weapons so that kinetic weapons become more prominent. I don't know that it's really an issue, honestly. Using, like, the weapons themselves, aside from things like the Prometheus lens and, like, maybe the Uriel's Gifts range aren't, like, that overpowered. I don't think the ammo is really much of an issue. Like, I don't really get wrecked by heavies when they pick it up. I don't know, it'll be interesting to see what they think is wrong with the ammo. It would be nice to see sticky grenades kill again. I don't understand the point of sticky grenades in Destiny 2. I stick somebody, it takes down, like, not even their entire shield. Why did I take the time to stick them? To be fair, Destiny stickies have insane homing capability compared to, like, Halo stickies. But it's still a sticky grenade. Why would I want to take the time to stick you if it's not going to kill? That's just stupid. Tune that. There will be Nightfall challenge cards. Now, when you say cards... Okay, that sounds like Trials cards, actually. Presumably there will be a set of goals that you want to accomplish while you're playing through the Nightfall on a card. That would actually be pretty cool if that's what I'm thinking it's going to be. That, while not enough to bring me back to the game, is an interesting prospect. Crucible quitter penalties. That's fire. I really like games that penalize people who leave the game. Because if you're going to launch a game, especially a team game, you should finish it with your teammates. You shouldn't just leave them hanging. Like, that shit is so fucking annoying, and there needs to be some kind of safeguard against it. Like, ban them from matchmaking for some time if they want to keep quitting games. Like, no, like, get good. Like, stop sucking, I guess. That'll be useful. Repeat Crucible map / strike protection. They do definitely repeat. I haven't noticed this as much with Crucible maps, but with strikes, you'll often get the same one 2 or 3 times in a row. And especially with the lack of variety on strikes in this game, I definitely want to be playing a different one every time, so that the boringness of the mission doesn't get too etched into my memory. In a game that makes you repeat the same shit over and over, you want to repeat the same shit as little as possible. So mix it up. Like, definitely fix that shit. Crucible maps, maybe if we had some more fucking maps, we put like 7, then that wouldn't be a problem. But y'all are probably bad at designing them based on how the rest of this game went. The best map is a fucking port of a Destiny 1 map. And there's going to be exotic weapon and armor sandbox changes. So I'd like to see some of the exotics that came back from Destiny 1 buffed to have some use. A lot of exotic weapons in Destiny 2 especially don't really have any reason to be used aside from like the Cold Heart. Like, they just exist. They don't really serve a purpose. Most exotics in Destiny 1 had a purpose, or at least a hidden purpose. Maybe like this exotic is godlike on this particular set of Nightfall skulls, you know, shit like that. Exotics should be made. In Destiny 1, exotics were often situational. A lot of the time you would run the same exotic armor piece. Some people would mix it up. But your exotic weapon would pretty much be, you know, if you're fighting raid bosses, you took out a black spindle. If you were on like a void burn strike that had the double damage when you're in the air, you would use the Telesto, because you can fire off the Telesto at 6 of them, you jump, everything gets annihilated. Like, their exotics all had a purpose, and in Destiny 2 it feels like they just exist to have like a shiny yellow weapon on your slot. Like, I pretty much don't even use exotic weapons when I play. I use a Better Devils, a Cone Patrol, and that raid sword. Every once in a while I'll trade the sword for a fusion rifle or a rocket, but for the most part my lineup does not change, and I don't touch exotics because there's no real reason to, except maybe, again, Cold Heart in a raid. But I do enough damage that I don't really need it. So don't miss. Anyway, enough rants on that. That rounds out the Sandbox and Crucible changes that are coming March 27th in 1.4. They then drop a little bit. That'll be the end of Season 1. So presumably Season 3 is coming with the release of the Gods of Mars DLC. If Gods of Mars is anything... First of all, let me just preface this part by saying the amount of content provided in the Curse of Osiris DLC was pathetic. When I played through the campaign, I was like, okay, well, you built up this character throughout the whole of Destiny 1 to be really cool and badass, and his presentation in Destiny 2 just falls completely flat. He doesn't do anything interesting. His ghost is more interesting than him. I was more worried about her when she like screamed, and I thought she died from the Vex Oryx thing smashing her, but she didn't die. Osiris doesn't do anything of significance. You basically kill the fucking Oryx Vex thing in what's basically the equivalent of a quick time event, and it's just kind of whack. And then when you go into the strikes playlist after that, assuming you're gonna be playing some new content, you realize that the strikes are the fucking 4 campaign missions or whatever that you just played. I think it's more like 2 or 3, but that shit pissed me off. Then the raid wasn't even an entirely new raid for the most part. It's a raid lair, which, you know, we fight a different boss or something. Like, I don't know, like, with the DLC, the way Destiny 1 was done, I liked getting a completely new raid environment. Now, maybe Gods of Mars will come with a new raid environment, because Destiny 1's first raid environment, or second raid environment, didn't come until the Dark Below, which was the second DLC, but I don't know, man. Anyway, with Season 3, a new season of content, LOL. We will be getting Eater of Worlds Prestige Mode. Eater of Worlds is the second incarnation of the raid on the Leviathan, the one where you fight the big Hydra Vex at the end. Very creative boss right there. I don't know why the Prestige Mode doesn't already exist in the game, but it's coming then. So look forward to that if for some reason you enjoy Destiny 2 enough to continue grinding its raid. Then seasonal Crucible rankings. So after they made all of these fucking moves to make Destiny 2 competitive and esports, 4v4, and balanced weapons at the beginning, and immediately did everything to fuck that, now they're gonna add rankings. I guess if you get the game rebalanced, that's cool, but nobody is taking this seriously as a competitive game at this point. I don't know what you're gonna bring in seasonal Crucible rankings for. The hype for Trials isn't what it was in Destiny 1. What's the point? Why would I want to have seasonal Crucible rankings? Especially if that Prometheus lens is coming back strong. Like, I'll play a game where my skill actually matters. You know? Destiny 2 is way too even a playing field. Seasonal Crucible rankings. It's just, why? And private matches are coming. Destiny 1 didn't add private matches until Rise of Irons dropped in the game's 3rd year, something that was standard since Halo Combat evolved in 2001, and pretty much every PC shooter prior to such. It's pretty amazing that you can release a game without private matches, though, because Destiny 1 or Destiny 2's Crucible is so fucking boring. Why would you want to play private matches anyway? It's not as if you can do anything interesting like you could in Halo with them, with fun infection game modes and all kind of wild shit. No, you can just go and play the game modes that exist in the quick play playlist, presumably. Which, why wouldn't you just go hit the quick play playlist? Why would you private match? I don't understand why they're not in. I don't understand why they think that adding them will add to the game. You don't have enough shit in your sandbox outside of the initial characters for like it to fucking matter. Can't customize our gameplay experience with that. Get the fuck out of here. There'll be a vault space increase. That's always good. Don't know why there's a limit. Make it 1,000. Why is it not 1,000 items? You can't tell me that this shit takes up too much space on your servers. It has to be like megabytes, like the contents of everybody's vault. Presumably, if it's the value of how many fucking things they have out of your game. Or do you actually code each individual item of the game into their fucking vaults? Because with y'all's inefficiency, that would not surprise me. Multi-emote, so that's good. You can have a hella emotes, and then you have 4 directions, actually 8 on your D-pad if you count, diagonals. But you can only assign 1 emote. The others are defaulted to your wave, your sit, and your class's default dance, which you can't pick. Yeah, sure, multi-emote, that'll be great. That adds so much depth to the game. So much depth. Then masterworks will be coming to exotics, so presumably you can add a masterwork core to add a random perk to one of your exotic weapons. Presumably these perks will also be extremely underpowered, just like the other masterwork shit on existing weapons and armor. And I'm sorry for the 700 times I said presumably this entire time, but it's a good sarcastic word. Seasonal vendor progression. So basically, I guess they're gonna track the amount of fucking tokens you turn into your vendors, so you can have some semblance of how much you've grinded the game and you can compare it to your friends. I guess if playtime is a bragging right, that's pretty cool. I don't think it is, but Anyway, for that is going to be faction rally improvements. I don't even know what that could be. The faction rally is the most pointless thing that has existed in the Destiny universe. I guess they're going to try to make it less pointless. Here's hoping that somehow that adds depth to the game. And then mod system improvements, which is also asterisked, as were the exotic weapon and armor changes in the previous one, meaning those things just might not happen. The mod system, it could use some more depth. It's okay, it's just very bare bones. You can only add a certain set of perks. I can do my setup, I can make my void abilities recharge faster and all that kind of shit. But it's very linear, there's not a lot to do with it. There's not a whole lot of interesting perks you can add. It would be nice if they added some more depth to it, but it'll probably be a couple more perks added, something like that. Overall, being that this development map, Season 3 starts in May, that's 4 months, well, I guess 3 months now, of this game having basically the exact same content that it does now, with a few minor balancing tweaks and adding shit that should have already been in the game. At this point, I think Destiny 2 is dead. Unless it has a Taken King renaissance and becomes a lot better later down the line, I do not think I'm going to be investing any more time into this game, which is sad because I genuinely loved the first Destiny starting during the Taken King. It was a perfect combination of like Halo, Call of Duty, and Borderlands, and provided a really fun casual experience that I could put a bunch of time into without really caring too much about how I performed. You know, I would usually outperform other people. Destiny 2 is simply not that way. It ruins all the uniqueness that you could get in the first game through your random perked weapons, your multi-layered class setups, the cool ass fucking Iron Lord artifacts, all that shit. Like, so much depth was just removed, and it's just a hollow shell of what the first game was. And it's gonna be a hollow shell of what the first game was for a long time. I think that Destiny 2 should have been a DLC pack for the first Destiny, trying to keep some of those original abilities, and I don't know, maybe having multiple of the same type of, like, why can't we have Sunslingers and Dawnblades, you know? Like, so much content, because this was supposed to be a 10-year game, just doesn't exist in it anymore. There's not enough in Destiny 2 to sustain this franchise. It's sad. Destiny 1's content should be reintegrated in some way. We had 4 raids, tons of strikes, most of them were fun, a few of them we hated, but, like, you know, there was a lot of shit that they just got rid of and replaced with something that is significantly worse. I won't be supporting this any further. Yeah. This is the tragedy of Destiny 2. If y'all feel my rant or anything, enjoy my content, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe. I'll be putting up more Halo, Smash content. Games that I enjoy, games that aren't this tragic disappointment.